Hello, and welcome to Higurashi When They Cry. And you hear them crying. The cicadas. So dramatic. Um, if you're irritated by the sound of this, like I am, we're gonna have to turn that down, like, immediately. So let's drop the volume on that shit, like, right away. Um, I'm also gonna do the updated, I think it's already set to do the updated character sprites by default. Okay. Okay, what is this game? Um, it's an anime, or at least it became an anime. An anime, believe it or not, that I'm not gonna go all anime trash on. I actually like the anime. At least insofar as it's like 5% kind of lolly jailbait fan service shit. And then 95% kind of psychological horror awesomeness. Um, but the thing is that I've only seen the anime, or at least season one of the anime. I couldn't really stomach getting through like the first episode or two of the second season or series, whatever it was. Um, so I watched all the way through um, the original Higurashi once. Actually, I think at least twice. And I liked it. I actually really did like it. However, uh, I had one big issue with it, and it's completely unique to Higurashi that I don't have with any other anime, any other television show, any visual novel. I mean, I've never played the visual novel, but my biggest gripe with Higurashi watching it is that I get a fucking killer headache. I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm not sure if it's the constant fucking cicada sound effects that they just loop over and over again, or if it's something to do with like the color tone that they have in the anime. But multiple times I've tried watching the anime and I consistently get like a migraine. And I have no idea what it is. I mean, I have these guesses, but to be real, I just don't know what it is. It's very strange that this anime in particular, as mysterious as it already tries to be, also mysteriously gives me a like just a massive fuck you headache. Um, which is interesting because I actually do like it. Besides that, that's just my biggest grievance with it is that I feel ill when I fucking watch it. Um, so anyway, I guess it can't be entirely said that this is blind. I don't know how much the anime actually deviates from the visual novel here. I expect the visual novel to drag itself out a bit longer. I hope not. Um, because I kind of like the relatively brisk pace of the anime. This is just chapter one, which is free on GOG. The rest of the chapters I think are paid, but it's such an old game, I can't imagine it's too expensive. Um, but my limited understanding of the game, spoilers for anyone that doesn't already know. Basically, this guy comes to a rural town out in the middle of fuck all nowhere in Japan, and he attends school with a variety of different girls of varying personalities. And at least the anime starts and stops. And I imagine this is probably how they break up the chapters, but the anime starts and stops in like 3 to 4 episode arcs or something like that. And every arc is basically the exact same timeline repeated over and over again, where the main character, the MC, the dull as fuck anime protagonist, comes to town, interacts with one of the 4 or 5, I don't know how many there are, girls that there are, and then they turn out to be psycho, and and some horrible shit happens, but it always unfolds differently. So you're not sure about like what the timeline is or what the reality is. I think like the canon answer or realization is that there's just some demon ghost curse thing that's legit, that actually, because I my understanding is that and this the thing is that part of what's interesting about season 1 is that it doesn't actually ever tell you exactly what's going on, but it gives you tons of clues to wrap it together. But every arc kind of postulates a different theory for what it could be. Is it a curse? Is there like a ghost? Is it is it a virus? Have aliens come down and are invading the town? Is it like some black ops organization shit that's going on? You don't know. Um, but they all in their own way become, I don't know, borderline plausible explanations. But I think only as of season 2 that do they just come right out of the gate and they go like, oh yeah, it's a ghost. It's like the ghost thing, the curse that we've been talking about since like the very beginning. That's real. All the other explanations are bullshit. Or at least that was my impression of like the first or second episode of season 2, and I just listened to that and I was like, okay, fuck that noise. I'm not into that. But I've been told that I'm wildly underestimating what season 2 could be, so I need to finish watching season 2, but it's been a while. I think I probably need to watch Higurashi a third time and endure the roll of headaches all over again. But it remains to be seen how this unfolds. So I'm not sure what to expect. Just by the fact that the anime adaptation was nice and brisk, I kind of expect the visual novel to be slow and draggy, and that's often my issue with visual novels. But let's see. I don't know. So let's just start up. Onikakushi. Welcome to the world of Higurashi when they cry. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening inviting you into this world. Don't play tough. Please just enjoy life in Hinamizawa to the fullest. The difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy the reward. Okay, well that's immediately surprising. You know what? I'm gonna turn off my lights. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not expecting this game to spook me or anything, but you know, I've watched the anime. I should expect some spooky shit. What throws me off a bit though is that it says the difficulty is extremely high. Are there game overs that I can get in this game? Because it's kind of funny. My loose interpretation of the anime is that every arc is a game over. But then again, I don't know how much they like took liberties with adapting it into an anime from a game. So I don't know. Let's find out. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if you will not forgive the world. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? I can't read this. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or organizations. Blah, blah, blah. AD 1983, the early summer of 58. Blah, blah, blah. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself. Such a silly sobbing voice. And those tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical, repetitious sound finally stilled. Everything fell silent. Only the cry of the cicadas remained, annoyingly loud. Yet, I felt as if I could still hear her voice, but that's not possible. She is no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion, because there was none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I didn't need to shed any for her. Then why? This pain, my eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I'd waver over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last day for you. Perhaps I really did love you. Very vague, very monologue-y, which is not what I'm used to hearing. Okay, finally we're in game. All of that was auto-advancing. I didn't get to click anything. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I'd last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads. The melodious cacophony of their crosswalk. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. It's only the chirping of locusts, babbling of brooks, and the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There's nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints, there aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town had some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. Ah, come on. I want to do it without my mouse. I can use the arrow keys. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. I have to be, like, above a certain range right here, otherwise it doesn't register my clicks. Somebody is still apologizing. I don't know what it is. Some hidden aspects of like the area right here I can't use to click. Like right here, I can't advance when I press the arrow keys here. I can't advance when I press the arrow keys here. If I move over here, all of a sudden it advances. I don't understand that. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing, even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing. Such a pathetic voice. Hey Ichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally roused from my nap by my father's prodding. Eiichi, oh, sorry. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window in the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even from the same era. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountain. Very budget backgrounds, background slides I can see. Past where the dense forest encroached on the mountain road suddenly opened up. There, where I live now, Hinamizawa. Higurashi, when they cry. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is called Onikakushi. I don't know what that means, though. Even though we were approaching the summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side. So I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. As I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. It's such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about it. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that, though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. Lovely. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. If you don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. I don't know how much I'm going to bother with voices for this game. If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice, or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with the egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. I often enjoy pickles with rice. Excellent. As usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning, that was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Rena-chan? Rena-chan? Hurry, hurry. Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. I've very much noticed that none of the background audio properly loops. It all just fades out and starts again, which is a little unpleasant. Rena is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame. But well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rena wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Rena-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning! Keiichi-kun. Now, I chose... I wonder if I can just flip back and forth between these. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks like shit, doesn't it? This is what turned into an anime. And then after it became an anime, they're like, you know what? We could do a little bit better than that. There we go. That looks a lot better. Good morning. Okay, so it has been probably at least a couple of years since I've seen Higurashi. My best memory, because my understanding is that since this is chapter 1, I assume that this is just going to be one self-contained arc dedicated to Rena. And the only thing I remember about Rena, in terms of like what her arc was, is that she liked to visit like some trash heap that was like representative of some sort of past tragedy. And I think there was some sort of soft implication that she was hiding like the remains of family members in like a fridge or something. I don't remember. That's like the best I've got. I really don't remember much beyond that. And that could be false for all I know. Especially considering, again, this is what the game originally was, not what the anime was adapted into. Good morning. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious, such a good person. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I'll wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust, without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Rena had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Rena seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Rena. No matter how long. Forever? Rena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance? I can't talk today. Have you ever read a romance novel, Rena? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. Of course, they say romance novel, but I imagine they have a different idea of what that means in Japan. Romance novel has a bit of a different meaning overseas. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. Light is not how I would describe pickles. Pickles have a very kind of punchy taste. Very strong taste, in fact. I would say pickles are a very, very pungent and strong flavor in just about anything they're put into. Some people can't stand pickles, but I like them. It would be fine to just be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Rena? Or was it your mom? Huh? What? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? I'm not sure why this is a conversation. Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Rena, or was it your mom? Why would I press this? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. Why? Fucking why? Just be honest. Yeah, they tasted good. They had a light flavor to them. Huh? She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amounts of salt she used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Sadists! Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train you to handle it like the average person. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Yeah, part of it is that I just fucking suck at reading for some reason. At least when I'm like trying to vocalize it. But the other part of it is I've noticed a couple weird little translation quirks here and there. It's not too bad, but I've noticed a couple things and it's just kind of thrown off my reading a little bit too. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep Mion waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just keeps spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Rena Ryugu. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Bichan, good morning. Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Ah, finally, you two are late. Now, the best I remember of Mion, again, bearing in mind spoilers, potential spoilers, she is like a member of like a Yakuza family or some shit. And she has a identical twin sister, which, as I mentioned, going through like the repeat timelines and stuff definitely throws into question like previous events that you saw. Makes you wonder whether or not it was actually Mion, or I don't know if her name is Sion or something like that. Yeah, that I remember that aspect. I also remember a really twisted scene of her ripping somebody's fingernails out. Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Rena. It's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only off 2 days. Ahaha, you don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze started at my chest, then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So she was saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then. Okay. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. I mentioned, like, the lowly bait fan service aspect of this game. Yeah. But I didn't expect, like, the characters to, like, aggressively sexually harass the main character, to be honest. Just random... Like, what is my time here? I'm at, like, 31 minutes? 31 minutes, and we've already discussed the main character's pubic hair. Like, was that necessary? I don't think it was. Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Rena began to ramble in a near panic. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was it? Seeing the city again? Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the subject to something more befitting of the pleasant morning. I mean, it was brief, but I vaguely recall that it did not go that far in the anime. Just my vague memories, I don't recall it going that deep into the characters just aggressively going, hey, why don't you whip out your schlong? Hey? Sound like a plan? We'd like to observe how it's changed since you were a child, which we saw when you were a child. You know, baby penises. Fucking get it. I only went for a funeral. I didn't have much time. So yeah, did you look for it? The thing I asked for? You're not listening at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in the toy stores. Tisk tisk. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here, after all. Is this about games again, Michan? Mion nodded proudly as Rena giggled. Yep, I wanted Kei-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see? Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, I guess I have to now. I'm gonna get another game full of hot action. This time, I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and forum games. If there's a game you think I'd understand, let me play too. Yeah, of course. If Kei-chan is up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Well, then we'll let you in the group this time, I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Rena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to try to make me feel welcome. I felt like I acted a bit more open than I usually am. Should probably be about right for this place. Inamizama was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. That class encompasses all different grades and ages. There are about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that long ago there used to be a bigger school building and they had actual separate classes. However, it seemed that something happened that made it become a single class, and now it stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like a kindergarten than the proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us up until then, suddenly let me take the lead, right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Too bad I wasn't going to fall for that again. To think you'd give up the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mion chuckled with a haughty smirk on her face. What is it, you guys? Step back, Rena. It's dangerous. She's here. Huh? Then Satoko-chan is? Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it would be immature to get worked up just over that. Real problem, this. Quite the obvious trap, a blackboard eraser wedged in the door. It's too obvious, Satoko. A haughty laugh came from beyond the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess that means you win this round. No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps. Traps that were simply there to bait you into the main one. Traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape. No time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. How can you put rocks in a blackboard eraser? What? I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. That sounds nice. So then why don't you have to just... It would help if I knew which character this was. So then why don't you just open the door and let it drop? That's what is. That's what it is. That's what is. That's what Satoko was after. Making me focus my attention upward, so as I lifted my hand to the door, there were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape, a frightening trap. A potent and terrifying trap, concealed by using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko, but in the end nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. I felt something strange at my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had me hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picturesque manner. Hey-chan, watch out! Instinctively, I reacted to Mion's shrill warning. I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the floor, covered in shards of glass. My body instantly lacerated, blood spores all over the floor. I mean, if this person's already trying to bean you with rocks and have you touch thumbtacks and stuff, is that really a bunch of a stretch? Ow, 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 ow! An inkstone filled to the brim was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered, imagining the situation had I landed square on it. My, what do we have here? A fair morning to you, Keiichi-san. We've had Keiichi-kun, we've had Kei-chan, and we now have Keiichi-san. Can we decide on an honorific, please? Aren't we a lively one this morning? Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. There's a step up from your usual traps, Satoko. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning. You little... Ow. It seemed I'd inadvertently sprained my back a little when I landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. A small hand gently rubbed my head. Pain, go away. The small dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head. You didn't sprain your back or anything, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears. I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts. Yeah, thanks, Rika-chan. The pain's going away now. Yay, Rika-chan, good morning. Good morning to you, Rena. A good morning to all. Rika-chan greeted each of us with an adorable little bow. It was infectious. Rena, Mion, and I all bowed back. You're such a good kid, Rika-chan. So much better than Satoko. I glared over in her direction. Satoko was whistling while rather deliberately trying to avoid eye contact. I am the very model of a good girl. A good girl wouldn't set those nasty traps. Nothing but lies and slander. Exactly what proof? Huh. I picked up Satoko by the back of her collar. She looked like a misbehaved cat when I do this. But the cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's much harder to deal with. I'm sorry. Try saying that. You won't say it? I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as I brought it closer to Satoko's forehead. I'm against violence. You don't even have any proof. Just so you know, my forehead flick really hurts. I keep screwing up the voices because I don't know who the hell this is. Not that I'm putting a lot of effort into it, but it could help but by having the names of the speakers. Eek! Stop, get away from me, you beast! Don't say that in a way people will misunderstand. A small hand tugged on the back of my shirt. She's been lonely ever since you were gone for 2 days. Rika-chan really is just so... How could I do anything more after being told that? I gently released my grip on Satoko, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clamped shut as she braced herself for the forehead flick. Which is... I mean, that's enough to invoke tears in a child. This is the age of the characters we're dealing with. We're also discussing my penis, by the way. Wah! It doesn't bother me. Wah! You mustn't cry, Satoko. Keep on fighting, yeah. Rika gently petted the head of her prankster friend. You would never guess that those two are the same age. I think Satoko could learn a thing or a million from Rika-chan. Next time, set an even more amazing trap. Wait a minute. As she observed the scene, Rena's expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon. How? Satoko-chan is crying. How so cute. You can't take them home. Huh. But they're so cute. It's weird that they spell it like that. You can't, no matter how cute they are. But just for a bit is fine, it's fine. Rena kept a cutesy face even as outrageous ideas spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Rena is ridiculously weak to cute things and always tries to take them home. This is what we call a catnapper. Object or person. Kidnapper. Stealing is bad, okay. But abducting people is even worse. Give it up. Then I could just look. Just looking. That should be fine, right? Right? Rena swooned over Satoko's crying form. If a girl ever goes missing in Hinamizawa, I'll be forced to turn Rena into the authorities. Forgive me, Rena. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you away. The teacher's coming. Quickly, clean everything up. Satoko, that inkstone is yours, right? Just from Mion's single statement, the entire mood of the room shifted back to normal. The inkstone was bad, but the thumbtack stuck to the door handle was an even bigger problem. I pulled the tape off carefully, making sure not to skewer myself. Even though Satoko was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bedlam from before had been neatly tidied up. Haha, we made it in time. Rise, attention! Mion gave out the morning commands. This is already taking much longer than I expected the anime to do. I mean, this is already an episode and a half of the anime. And I don't mean that in, like, in-game time. I mean that in recording time. I'd have been able to watch maybe 2 episodes by this point. It's difficult being the teacher for all these different grades in one classroom. She has to teach something different to each one, but naturally she ends up spending all her time with the younger kids. Rena and Mion, being in the highest grade in the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems like they can never get their own studies. They're actually way beyond where my studies have progressed to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over for the teacher and helping Rena and Mion with their studies. You're a pretty good teacher, Keiichi-kun. Easy to understand. Rena took a breather after finishing highlighting an important section. Teaching is making me lose confidence. Makes me aware of how shallow my understanding of the subject is. They say that to teach someone something, you need to understand it backwards and forwards. While you're teaching us, you're getting in your own practice. In contrast, this person over here is quite laissez-faire about things. For one, isn't she supposed to be in a higher grade than me? Look, Mion, this is for your own good. If you don't take this seriously, there will be trouble later on. With these marks... Not like I'm aiming to go on to a prestigious school. I'll be fine as long as I pick up what I need to know for the entrance exams a little at a time. Her staunch defiance was really something else. This was a different type of relaxed than somebody who already knew what was going to be on the entrance exams. Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun is doing his best to teach us. We need to try hard too. You're such a good and honest kid, Rena. I'll make sure you guys get accepted into a good school. What? Thanks so much. Especially you, Rena. Private lessons, just the 2 of us. Private lessons? A puff of smoke escaped like a halo, popped out of Rena's head. Exactly what kind of private lesson is she fantasizing about that's making her turn so red? I'd like to hear the play-by-play about that next time. While Mion was flipping through her vocabulary flashcards, she threw out a casual question. So, in the city, do you have to study this much? If you don't know at least this much, you can't get into university. So you study just to get into a university? Well, yeah, basically. While knowing that this stuff won't ever come in handy in the future, yes, facts! Out here, you can get into university as long as your attendance is good enough. Really? Study equals entrance exams. Having that basic law of the universe so easily overturned sent me into a state of shock. And relief! Dear God, Hinamizawa is a fucking paradise. Jesus Christ. Mandatory public schooling sucks, oh my God, but at the same time, holy shit. I don't have to try? Thank God. That is right. There aren't really enough people around here to warrant weeding them out with an exam. If anyone can get into university, then there's no need to be all uptight about this stuff, right? Well, that's true, but you should at least know stuff that's common knowledge. This old geezer thinks that instead of wasting time studying pointlessly, you should be spending your precious teen years doing more meaningful things. It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off, but since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning. In place of its shine, the sound of the principal waving a handbell drifted through the classroom. Hey Chan, we're done. It's our wonderful lunchtime. In a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Mion gave the commands that signaled the end of the morning period. Ichikun, let's have lunch. I might have been making a very troubled face. Rena smiled brightly at me. Alright, let's eat. This is so much more... This is so much more just world building. And honestly, what, as far as I'm concerned with irrelevant world building, they haven't even mentioned the curse of Hinamizawa. That's like the main, that's like the main thing that catapults the series into action. In the first episode, they established the curse of Hinamizawa. That episode had to be less than half an hour, and they still haven't discussed it in almost an hour into this game. Not to mention, they mentioned difficulty, and again, there's been no gameplay. There seemed to be different cliques, even within the class. Most of them were divided up by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, and we had both boys and girls. But we weren't reserved around each other. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me pretty happy. Rena and Mion pushes their desks together so they were facing each other. At the same time, Satoko and Rika-chan were slowly lugging their desks over as well. H-kun, hurry. Rena waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Unless everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their lunchboxes. Keiichi-san's lunchbox is most assuredly filled with nothing but bread crusts like some sort of destitute plebeian. Why don't you just show it to us? Come on. Even though Satoko was hurling insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid to her lunchbox until I was there. I pulled out my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. Well then, Representative Me, please give the signal to start. At first this was kind of embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my own lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have all been different, but we were all friends. Let's eat. Our ages and genders may have all been different. We just established that 2 of them are female and 2 of them are the same age. How are we saying they're all different? Doesn't make any sense. The sound of our little 5-part chorus echoed beautifully through the classroom. Really though, I've gotten pretty used to this group made up of all girls. Of all different genders. Of course, there are other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were scared to approach me. Well, that's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Compare that to girls, well, at least these girls aren't picky. We put all the side dishes in the middle where everybody was free to pick at them. I thought girls would mind sharing a meal with a guy, so I was a bit flustered joining in. However, Mion noticed that and teased me quite a bit. As the fruit of my efforts, I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's lunch. My, isn't Sir Keiichi's lunch extravagant today? My, isn't Madame Satoko's lunch extravagant as well? The stewed stuff has a nice look to it, rather trendy. Buying into the fight that Satoko was starting, our chopsticks locked in a cross-counter, stabbing into each other's lunch. My, how delicious! Oh, this taro is good. The stewed stuff is good too, even cold. After seeing my happy face, Rika-chan's expression broke into a little smile. I saved some from dinner last night. By the way, Satoko and Rika-chan's lunches are always the same. It seems that Rika-chan makes it for both of them every day. Rika-chan made this too? These taste like Mom's home cooking. I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold, they were done by hand with a knife. That's not easy to do. I guess Rika-chan's just good at this sort of thing. He's really good at sewing, laundry, and stuff like that. Amazing, right? Amazing. Rika is quite exceptional in many ways. Ho 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 ho. That's nothing for you to boast about. Rena's actually better at cooking than I am. Huh? Well, you know. It seemed that the top of the conversation switched to Rena, when she wasn't expecting it, making her blush and trip over her words. Rena's lunch really was the star of the table. Not only did it look good, it tasted good. Everyone else pulled from Rena's lunchbox constantly. Everyone liked this one so much before, so I made a lot this time. It's good, I hope. I hope? It's got high marks from me. Ah, Mion, you're taking too much. Knocking Mion's chopsticks aside, I reached out, trying to secure my own portion. Satoko and Rika-chan reached over at the same time, and a struggle ensued. Everyone shoveled in mouthful after mouthful while praising it, and Rena's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kinda bad that no one thought to leave any for Rena. But Rena seemed rather satisfied as she looked on. How did you like it? Isn't Rena-san an extremely good cook, too? Quite different from Keiichi-san. I said that's nothing for you to boast about. You're not too much different from Kei-chan, Satoko. Can you tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower yet? Satoko's face went pale. Hey, even I can tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower, you know. Of course I can, I really can. It's really hard for her to lie. Keiichi-kun, both taste good when they're boiled and topped with mayo, right? You shouldn't be picking on her. Mi-chan too. Rena hurriedly tried to follow up, Mion laughed haughtily as she drew closer to Satoko. Well, just pretend it's a little home ec lesson. Now then, Satoko, what's this? Mion lifted up her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon. But that's asparagus. Mion made eye contact with me, and within 3 seconds I had Rika-chan's mouth covered. Holding a piece of bacon-wrapped asparagus and giving her 2 choices, she's pretty terrible. The yellow one is cauliflower. No, wait, the green one is cauliflower. So which? Probably the yellow one is broccoli and the blue one is cauliflower, but the green one is, Do you really know which is which? How about you just give up? I'd expect no less from the class representative. The oldest. The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience she has. This is just a hunch, but being brought into the Sanozaki household must be quite the ordeal. I do know. I really do. Then answer the question. I know. Wah. She finally broke down and started crying. When she acts like this, she actually starts to seem her age. Oh, cute! Rena entered the state of euphoria as Satoko bawled her eyes out. Rena was in a state of bliss as she rubbed her cheek against Satoko's head and smothered her. Really, a very content face. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right then. It was that kind of smile. Rena! Mimi is picking on me! Wah! Cute. It's okay, Rena. Oni-chan will take care of all the bad people who tease my little sister. Swish! Boof! Bam! It was like a flash of lightning. What was that just now? Both Rena's fists shot out at supersonic speeds, striking Mion and me squarely in our faces. Before we knew it, Mion and I were sprawled spread eagle on the floor, staring up at the ceiling with matching welts on our faces. This is the first time you've gotten one, right? Today, she went easy on us. Easy? You mean there's something harder than this? With that, Mion and I both slumped our heads back to the floor in unison. They really try to describe very anime scenes without actually animating it. Like, I can very easily visualize what they're doing. So that's something, at least. But it's kind of interesting. I wonder if someone who, like, doesn't watch much anime would get what they're trying to do with, like, these... It's, like, visualization. Because otherwise, this just sounds silly. And not in a comprehensible way. From now on, I'll be careful when I'm within striking distance of Rena. See, Satoko-chan? I took care of them. Cute. I want to take you home. Making sure Rena couldn't see it, Satoko stuck her tongue out at us. Tisk, damn it all, using Rena like a puppet. Rika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. No matter what the day had held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off into the distance. Hey, Keiichi-kun, tomorrow you have plans or anything? Or anything? Huh? It was such a direct question from Rena, I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, then wouldn't you do it more subtly? Rena saw me lost for words and realized that I'd misunderstood, turned red as well. No, I didn't mean it like that, you see. So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it's always fun when Rena's in a panic, I went along with it a little. There's a lot of abusive relationships in here that are, like, presented as, like, cute or adorable. Like, I'm constantly, or me, the MC, Keiichi-kun, is constantly teasing Rena. So, I like when Rena's miserable, and then Rena likes it when, Satoko's miserable, and there's a whole bunch of cross-teasing going on. Like, only Rika, and that was kind of my experience with the anime, too, now that I think about it. Rika was, like, the only wholesome character of the four. And I think that's why she usually got killed first. At least that's what I recall. I really want this to fucking get going. It's been fucking 2 hours of this game, and fucking nothing's happened. Oh, really? It wasn't meant that way. Huh? Playing it up, I slumped my shoulders, feigning dejection. Keiichi-kun, why are you so disappointed? Why? Why? Me-chan? Ah ha ha ha. Unable to hold it in any longer, Mion slapped me on the back. I see, this old geezer never knew you could push her buttons like that. Ha 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 ha. Huh? What is it? Mion was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach while Rena flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well. Feeling just a bit guilty, I ruffled Rena's hair. Kidding, sorry. It was a joke. That was my fault. She really is a cute one. Huh? A joke? Since when? Since when? About halfway through. Halfway? So, Kei-chan, that means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start? Huh? That means? I'm not even following the conversation here. It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mion could let such a delectable detail slip her. Ah, well, you see. Saying anything more was also a bad idea. In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while. There's like a three-way circle jerk of teasing. So why were you asking if I'm free tomorrow, Rena? Huh? Oh, what were we talking about? It had been so long that Rena had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me. It's just Kei-chan. You probably can't find your way around Hinamizawa by yourself yet, can you? That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we were playing pin the tail on the donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell up from down here. I wouldn't be able to tell up from down... I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school. Yes, so you see, tomorrow, we were thinking that Michan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa and show you around. That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer. You'll come, of course, right? If I'm free. You're being invited by a girl, you know. If I'm free. You're probably free anyways. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as not to give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say so up front. I'm a little bit of a scamp myself. Keiichi-kun, you're not free, perhaps? I don't like this trend of Rena repeating, like, the last 1 to 2 words of every sentence. It's a little annoying. While Mian and I had our rather sour back and forth, Rena peeked over at me hesitantly. Figuring I'd been too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry, forgive me. I apologize. I'm free. Great! The trepidation disappeared from Rena's face as it blossomed into a smile. Hey now. Seems like there's quite a difference between how cold you are to me compared to Rena, isn't there? It seems Mion didn't care for how rude I was to her, compared to how quickly I agreed with Rena. But her being annoyed was very interesting. So I pushed Rena forward, speeding up our pace to leave Mion behind. Let's go, Rena. Maybe it should be just the two of us tomorrow. Leave grumpy old Mion behind. Huh? Well, if Keiichi-kun is okay with that, then... I'm the one who came up with the idea to take him around. Don't ignore me, Keiichi Maebara. I think that's the first mention of my last name. It'd be great if the two of us could go on a picnic together. Should we bring a basket, Rena? If we're bringing a basket, I'll make all the food, maybe. Don't you forget, ignore me, Rena. I'll tell everyone that you two disappeared into the hotel district together. There's a hotel district? Well then, I'm going home right now to start making it. Tomorrow is going to be so fun. Later, Keiichi-kun. Michan, bye. Rena bounded off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion, sprawled on the ground. There was a welt on her face. Are you alright? There was over 2 meters between you guys. Since you came, they've become sharper. This old geezer's body can't handle it. Maybe it'd be easier if you stopped saying stuff that'd make Rena want to hit you. Or else this will end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. If that happened, the results might be fatal. Don't feel bad, Mion. You're probably the only one who can dodge her jabs. It felt like it was her knee, though. Could it be that we were hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in an extreme contact sport, like beheading me. No, not foreshadowing or anything. You can't lose to Rena. You need to train and have a rematch. Hey, Chan, you should... This old geezer will root for you. Mian and I reaffirmed our determination to discover a way to counter Rena's infallible technique. Don't tell me that was chapter 1. You have received new tips. We're a mixed grade. We don't have a uniform? Huh? I don't know what that means. Few new tips. What? The runner, we're the same age? Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal, too. Hey now, it'd be weird if you were the same age but not the same what is this? Exit scenario, yes. I hope I didn't just exit the game entirely. I think I just exited the game entirely. Continue. Oh, dear lord. Alright, well... Awesome. What the fuck was that? I don't know what the fucking tips were. It just... Like, as soon as I jumped... my first thought was like, what is it? Are these clues? Is there... am I gonna need these to solve a mystery or something? Which wouldn't be too surprising. But then I click into them, it's like whole new random bullshit dialogue that I hadn't had before that seems totally unnecessary. So... Well, I'm gonna leave it off there. I mean, if I dedicate another, like, 30 minutes to this game, I would not be at all surprised that nothing fucking happens. And then... What? I... How quickly can I get back to where I was? I can't click through this. I can't click through this either. Can I escape? I can't interact with any part of this. I'm done. This fucking sucks, dude. Very long, drawn out, unskippable beginning of this game. On top of the fact that there wasn't an autosave, and when I chose exit scenario, that was interpreted as quit the game. I am not gonna sit through another hour of the same shit. Especially when nothing fucking happened. You just have this flash forward bullshit, which was also in the anime, but it at least capitalized on something in easily half the time that it already took me to experience nothing. So, this was pretty much exactly what I expected. It just completely amounted to fucking nothing because it decided it wanted to drag its fucking fat pedophilic ass all over my face, just trying to drum up how cutesy and moe the characters are. I just wanted to get to the part where the characters are like trying to fucking kill each other. That's what was cool and interesting in the actual anime. Not the fucking 5 minutes the show took to do all the shit I just spent an hour on. Alright, well. That's Higurashi. I mean, I'm not gonna fucking continue this. If that appeals to you, there's your game. It's free. Have at it. I'm fucking done. Anyway, bye.